I'm Dale Archdekin from Smart Inside Sales. If you don't know who I am, I'll introduce myself again as we get the webinar started. My friend Barry, who I'm sure you've heard of Barry Jenkins before. He should be here soon. He's going to be showing up. He does office hours just before this. So we like to give him, 30 seconds in between so that he can take a little breather. Looks like we're streaming live now on Facebook into the Ylopo Facebook group. So, hey, Ylopo Facebook group, it's Dale Archdekin from Smart Inside Sales back again to do another live webinar for everybody. And I'm really excited about this one. And in fact, Michelle, who's behind the scenes, I forgot to let you know, we will want to bring up a couple of volunteers to do some role play in here. And actually, I'm wondering if we end up doing more of these. Here's Barry. Here's Barry now. You're all saved. Barry Jenkins is back. You don't have to listen to me anymore, right, Barry? Barry just got connected. So what I'm thinking is when I do these with Follow-Up Boss, I actually do them as a meeting so that everybody's on the screen and I can pick whoever I want. So we may even consider doing it that way. I know that typically you guys run your webinars where it's like, talking head on stage and everybody's sort of behind the curtain. But I kind of like it when I have everybody in a panel. What's up, Barry?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything. I think with your teaching style and the way that you use live examples, I definitely think meetings are ideal. But because a lot of our content is designed to be put on the media, ylopo.com/media, that would be the reason that we do it that way. But
So since we don't have 500 model releases, is what you're saying?
No, man, no, not that at all. It's just we want to be able to teach people with the content that we're creating here. This is a master class, and I know that I've been getting a lot of really great responses from Ylopo users on this weekly master class. And so I just think you're meeting people where they are. And I'm excited to hear, to go into the next subject today as well. I think it's going to be really good.
Excellent. Thanks, Barry. I appreciate that, man. So today is going to be the logical next step. And one of the reasons that we came up with this training is that a lot of times we don't hear a good logical next step coming from a salesperson or from an ISA. And if I just explain what that means, Barry, let's say that you registered on the website, right? I'm going to demonstrate not a great logical next step with you, first of all. So we had a conversation, Barry. I did the discovery. You're not ready to meet with me yet. And I say something to the effect of, hey, that's great, Barry. I'm going to send you some properties. Let me know if you want to see anything, okay? Bye.
Okay. Bye.
That is not a great logical next step, right, Barry?
No, it's horrible.
It's horrible. And what percentage would you say of times that agents or ISAs end a conversation, it sounds just like that?
I think it's like the majority.
Majority.
I think it's actually an epidemic, man. It's really bad.
It is. It's really bad. So one of the basic criteria that we came up with when we're doing training with salespeople is if you're going to end a conversation, you at least have to establish when we're going to talk again, why we're going to talk again, and what the lead is going to get out of it. So if everybody listening can write those 3 things down: when we're going to talk, why we're going to talk, what you're going to get out of it. So when you're working yourself on having conversations and ending your conversations, or whether you're training people, if you can at least get those 3 pieces in there, it will really improve the next step that you establish with people. If you'll notice that ending with Barry, hey, Barry, I'm going to send you properties. Let me know if you see something. That didn't contain any of those 3 pieces to it. Or even if I get a little bit better and I say, hey, Barry, I'm going to send you some properties. Let me know if you want to see anything. And, today is Wednesday. I'll give you a call on Friday and see how, if I should change anything. So now at least I have when we're going to talk again and why we're going to talk again, but not necessarily what you're going to get out of it. So if I just take those 3 principles and I improve this even farther, hey, Barry, I'm going to send you some properties now that match the criteria that you and I just talked about. Let's reconnect on Friday afternoon. Say, would 4 or say 6 work for you after work?
4 would work.
Forward work, fantastic. Okay, great. What we're going to do is we're just going to make sure that the criteria I put in is correct. You're getting the right properties so that you don't miss anything that could be perfect for you. Okay.
Sounds great.
Yep. So now we have the full package there, at least in the short term next step, right? When we're going to talk, why we're going to talk, what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah. And what I like about this, man, like, okay, so if I'm talking to you and I provide no value in the conversation, like, yeah, we can help, whatever. And then we get to the end and I say, all right, so on Friday we're going to talk about, and I suddenly go over all of this detail that I'm going to do for you the next appointment, but I've provided no value in the beginning. It just doesn't make any sense, because you've switched. And I think what people I learn through concepts. Okay, so I get confused with details. Concepts really help me, and so those of you that are listening, what I want you to hear Dale sharing is he's acting like someone who's really valuable and knows their stuff. Because like if I'm talking with a professional that really has a handle on um, their subject matter, they're not thinking, how can I close this authoritatively? They are authoritative. Like it just like they just that's what they do. And like, for me, Dale, I don't know if you struggle with this, but like I go all day, I'm teaching agents how to do things. I come home and like I tell my 13-year-old to do something and he doesn't just like listen, you know? Like I don't have the same audience with my kids as I do, because I'm an authority in the teaching world. I'm supposed to be an authority with my 13-year-old, but you get the analogy here. And so, yeah.
I
So
have a
when you're
12-year-old. I am not,
okay, yeah,
I'm only an authority when he wants me to be.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And so what we have to understand is that, when you act valuable and the authority on the subject, you're going to do that throughout the conversation. And you're going to put feet to this disposition of being the authority using Dale's approach. And and if you could just repeat those three things again, Dale, I really think some of those folks are going to really grab a hold of it.
Sure. It's when are we going to talk or connect? Why are we going to talk? And what will you get out of it? Lead. So it's just a formula, right? To expand or to improve the ending that you make with someone when you're in contact with them. And this is especially important with stranger leads, people who don't know, like, or trust you, or haven't worked with you, haven't been referred to you, right? People that you don't have a lot of rapport with. It still works with the people that you do know. It works with the people that got referred to you, who you have the warm and fuzzies with, right? The people where you sometimes feel a little overly comfortable and you forget your professional processes. So if you have a good process and you practice the process with the strangers that you really need to do it with, you're much more likely to execute it with the people who you forget you need to do it with.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right, man. And I think and for those of you that don't realize it, if you're not doing this is why when you call them back, they never answer again.
Right, exactly.
They
Especially
don't,
the
they don't,
stranger leads, because they're
yeah, they
like,
don't,
what
I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know that I'm getting any value out of this next conversation with this person.
Well, and and I put it in my book. I know you read the story, but I would say, like, don't answer knife guy. Like I didn't want to answer every time that guy called because it provided me no value. And so I just didn't want to talk about the weather with a stranger.
Right.
And people are polite, but they don't really tell you at the end, hey, I don't really value this conversation. Don't call me again. Most people aren't going to say that.
Don't
They're
you
just like, oh,
wish?
yeah,
Don't you
email me.
wish they would? That would be
I
so much more of a teaching lesson for salespeople.
Yeah. No, I do. I mean, but because they're not doing that, right? Um, you make your notes and they're really pretty, right? You figured out that they have children, what their dreams are, where they grocery shop, what their favorite color is. You call them back and you're like, okay, this is the lead. I've waited a month. I didn't want to bother them. You leave a really encouraging voicemail, rinse and repeat, and like you don't have any traction, and you blame the leads, and you're like, oh, these leads are horrible. When really what happened was your chance to be valuable, you squandered it by being relational. And being relational is important, but what Dale is sharing is like those logical next steps. I don't know why I'm waxing so poetic today, man. You caught me after a coffee, I guess. So
Hey, there
sorry.
you go. You're on fire, Barry. I want to bring people back. There's a graphic that I'm going to show. So I gave a basic concept of logical next step, right? Which you can use right now. You can put it into practice today with people that you talk to, and will help you even in your short-term connections. What I'm going to teach people today is actually our logical next step process, which, if you remember, when I first did a training for Ylopo, I showed this poster, and one of the big concepts on it at the top was now, sooner, or logical next step, right? And just to refresh everybody's memory, what that means is the overriding principle for lead conversion, for talking to people, whether you're an agent or ISA or anything, even if you're recruiting for your team or your brokerage, doesn't really matter, is now, right? When I talk to you, Barry, the lead, when do I want to sell you a house or sell your house or recruit you to my team? Now. I want to do it now. And if you say anything that suggests it can't be now, my line of questioning is going to follow. Why can't it be now, right? Why shouldn't it be now? What makes it so that it shouldn't or can't be now? And if you convince me through your answers that it can't, won't, and shouldn't be now, I'll move to sooner, because sooner would be better, right, than never. And if you convince me can't be, won't be now, can't be, won't be sooner, I know that I'm going to need to close out my conversation with you with some kind of logical next step. And I'm going to teach a process here. And usually into that logical next step bucket are where leads who are 6 months plus are going to fall into. So I need some kind of process to close this out with them. And I'll give you a couple of bad examples as to why we created this process. So again, the bad example would be, have a conversation with you, Barry. You're not going to buy a house until, let's say, October of this year. Okay. You're not buying a house until October of this year. Really bad is, okay, Barry, got it. I'm going to send you properties, and I'll just, let me know if you want to see something, or I'll follow up with you in a couple of months and see where you're at. That, dude, is a threat. Okay. You have just threatened this person that I'm going to randomly call you at probably the worst time with no value to you and just ask you if you want to buy or sell yet, right? So that's a threat. That sucks.
They don't want to talk to us.
No, they don't want to talk to us in a couple of months for no apparent reason. So some agents get a little bit fancier, and we've all heard this, and we've probably done it. I've done it, right? Got it, Barry. Okay, so you want to move in October. Hey, that makes a lot of sense, man. Listen, you probably need to start really shopping for a house in like July, or, there's a whole process, inspections, negotiations, making offers. Maybe you don't get it, who knows? And then actually getting something under agreement and then going to closing can take several months. So I'll give you a call in August. Sound good, Barry?
Sounds great.
Now, that's a little bit better in terms of a sales process, at least, right? And being knowledgeable. Hold on, my lighting's not great. These people need my full facial, like.
Yes, we do.
Popping. My face needs to pop here. My light's getting weird. Anyway, so that's a little bit better, right? However, the problem is, the last thing Barry heard come out of his mouth was October, strange salesperson. And then he sees me wave my arms around and say a lot of words, and somehow August pops out of my mouth. And Barry's like, all of a sudden I'm in August now? Like, what happened? And do I believe everything this person said? Was I even listening to what he said? And I just kind of shoved it down your throat, right? Yeah. So I would say that is, some better type of scripting that you can do, but it's not collaborative with you, right? We didn't create anything together, Barry. I just took what I didn't like to hear from you, and I went from October and shoved August down your throat. So we created a process where, yes, Alex Montalvo just asked, shouldn't you ask why October? Yes, Alex, you would have done that as part of your now or sooner, but we're beyond that part, right? So it's going to be October. It's not going to change. I need to set some kind of process for Barry going forward. So we created a process that I'm going to show you over here. And I want you to tell me if this works better for you, Barry. I'm going to demonstrate it. Let me zoom in here a little bit, because I only want you guys to see the top part. And you're going to listen to me go through this 4-step process. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keys in hand, perfect home, serious shopping, meet with agent. All right. So Barry, I want you to hold in your mind how I shoved down your throat that I moved it from October to August. Okay.
All right.
And instead, I want you to listen to this process. Now, I've gone through discovery. He's convinced me not now. He's convinced me not sooner. He has a real concrete reason for October. And I am going to have to end my call with him because I've done a full discovery. There's nothing more I can do here, right? This is what we would do. And this is the process we teach. I'm going to go through these 4 steps. So Barry, I know you said October. Tell me, when does that mean that you'd want to be moved into your new home, keys in hand? Are we talking like 1st of October or end of October?
1st of October.
1st of October. Okay, great. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Well, I don't know if you know this, but in order to have your keys in hand at the 1st of October, it generally takes about a 30 to 45-day process from when you find the perfect home to get all the way through the processes and actually get your keys in hand October 1st. Were you aware of that?
No.
Got it. So what that means then, Barry, is that to have keys in hand October 1st, you really need to have found that perfect home actually by probably mid-August. Would that work for you?
Yeah, that would work.
Okay, great. And if you need to find the perfect home by mid-August, on average, it takes our buyers about a month of serious shopping, getting out there, seeing and touching properties. So actually, you'd probably need to really start your serious shopping by, say, mid-July in order to find the perfect home by mid-August. Would that work for you and your wife?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. So if we know that we probably need to start serious shopping mid-July in order to be on your timeline, when do you think it would make sense to actually meet with me so we can lay out a game plan to help you and your family find the perfect fit for you guys?
Oh, I'm not really sure. I guess around June, maybe.
June would be great. Let's do this. How about the beginning of July? That way it gives us a couple weeks, then we can actually start serious shopping. Would that work for you?
Yes, you are slick.
Excellent, Barry. Okay, now I've just demonstrated the 4 pieces working backwards with you. So Barry, between the Dale shoved it down my throat from October to August versus Dale co-created with me our future timeline, what is the difference for you as the participant?
Well, it's immense. It's a huge difference. I don't know. Can you guys hear my dialer?
No.
Okay. Somebody's calling my follow boss line in the background. There's a couple of things. One, instead of you strongly influencing or AKA selling a concept to me, what you did was you educated me. And in the process of educating me about the timeline, showed me how I fit into them. And then you allowed me to control the exact date. And, I'll tell you guys what's interesting about this. A lot of you are selling and influencing in this example, August, without the context needed for the consumer to understand the reason behind it. And what Dale is doing is really showing how valuable you are. He, because he just basically educated them and said, look at all these little details you're missing out on, Mr. Consumer. And so, you do need to remember this process. You do. And you also need to understand that this is how someone who is valuable, I know I keep saying that, this is how they act. Like I'm talking to you and I know you can't wait until October to buy in October. So I need to help them understand that. And so this is a really good way of helping them to see that.
Yeah. What I want to point out here is we've broken it down into a simple thing to do. I made it sound pretty smooth, but believe me, when I teach this to students, there's some degree of tears and crying that goes on, right? Because it's kind of hard to hold these ideas in your head and hit all the points. It's kind of complicated, actually, to work it backwards. Remember to hit the points. Remember to go step by step, but it's methodical. The reason we do it like this, and I teach this, is when you, the consumer, are like, oh, I don't know, I'm not going to be buying until the fall. You are looking at buy a house, move into a house, and get through the entire process as this singular event, and it equals the fall in that moment, right? I know that it's this really big process with all these steps that go into it. You actually have to start way ahead, which is what you just said. The problem is I can't expand your brain from the singularity to the giant process in one shot. You'll reject it. You don't want to hear it, right? So that's why we crank the door open step by step, and you agree with it with me. So we create it together, and your mind goes from this to this, and now you understand it. And it makes it way easier to get this person to understand the steps in the future. And it gives me touch points in the future with you, Barry, so that when I'm following up and you don't want to respond to me, I can remind you, hey, Barry, listen, it's Dale. 4th time I'm reaching out to you, my friend. I just want to make sure we stay on the same timeline. If it's changed, let me know. If not, you and I agreed you need to start serious shopping by mid-July for you guys to be on time. Has the time frame changed? ? That is far more powerful than, hey, Barry, Dale Archdekin following up again. Do you still want to buy a house? Right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's the point of doing this. And I'm going to give everybody this graphic. You guys can get it with the download on the replay of this thing. So people ask, hey, great. And we're in February right now, right? So yeah. Barry's not going to buy until October. I've worked him backwards to July, and some of you smart people listening out there are like, oh, well, that's great, Dale, but what do I do now between now and July? This is where we're going to go from now forward. So let me finish the rest of this for you, Barry, okay? You and I have just agreed we're going to meet July 1st, okay? That sounds excellent, Barry. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to send you our Buyer Advantage program, or our 16 steps to home ownership. Whatever it is, everybody's going to ask, what is he talking about? I don't have one of those. You make it up. You're going to send something of informational value to the lead, right? Barry, I'm going to send you my informational thing. Will you take a moment and review it for me? That way I can answer any questions you may have. Do you think you could look at that, say, by Friday of this week for me?
Sure.
Sure. Okay, excellent. I'm going to send that to you now. What I'll do is I'll follow up with you Friday afternoon, see if you had any questions about that packet. Does that sound good, Barry?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Also, I'm going to be sending you properties that match the criteria that you just gave me. On Friday, when we talk, we'll just make sure I'm sending you the right stuff and that we're not missing anything that you otherwise want to see, and not wasting your time with stuff you don't. Sound good to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. And then what I'll do is after that, after Friday, what we'll do is we'll talk every month or so. I like to check in with my clients, see if their criteria has changed or if their plans have changed at all, so that I can adjust the search and what I'm sending to them. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Excellent. Now I have short-term next steps with an agreement from Barry, what we're going to do, why we're going to do it. And then I have an agreement with him that we're going to talk every month until July. And why.
And, so this is so good. And I think, as agents, we have all these roadmaps to contract to close, and these are what the next steps are. And we're really good once we get them under contract, but we don't have a roadmap to go off of until now, to help the person know what that logical next step is. I'm obsessed with this, with my team.
Thanks.
Yeah, this has been really helpful. Because a lot of them were just ending the call with, yeah, all right, I'll email you. It just was a waste of everybody's time. Now, one user did ask, if they don't give you like a specific timeline, they just say, I'm waiting.
Okay, great. That's a fantastic question. Okay. So let's role play that, right, Barry? So you're amorphous. You don't have a specific time. It's just going to be later, probably the fall. Okay.
Is that what amorphous means?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
No form to it yet. Your plans don't have enough of a form for you to give me October.
All right, I'm tracking.
Yeah. All right. So we've gone through now. We've gone through sooner. I've done as much discovery as Barry can give me, right? And sometimes we can't get a full story from these people, and he's not going to give me a hard date in the future. Listen to what I do. Got it, Barry. Hey, so you said that you'll probably be moving this fall and wouldn't do anything before that. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So do you have an idea of maybe what month that might be for you? Like October, November, even September?
Not really. No, just somewhere in that part of the year.
Okay, got it. Well, let's say this, Barry. Let's say that if you wanted to get moved by, say, October 1, right? You wanted keys in hand by the 1st of October. Did everybody hear what I just did?
Yeah.
I just picked the date in the fall. He doesn't have one for me. I'm not going to hammer the guy, and I'm not going to give up on the process because he doesn't have one. I just picked one. Okay, well, let's say you wanted to do it by October 1st. I'm going to run him through the same process I already went through, because I'm going to educate him as to what the steps are and what it's going to take. I want to provide value, as Barry already said, by bringing that to him because he hasn't thought about it and might not know it. And two, by me going through this process, it might cause Barry to put some tumblers in place and say, oh, yeah, well, in that case, October is not going to work for me, right? Because of X, Y, and Z. It's going to have to be like November or December. Fantastic. Now I actually have an endpoint to work from.
Yeah. And so what Dale just showed everybody is that this isn't just a tool to get someone to meet you earlier. The motivation really is to educate the person. Because if the person doesn't know, they don't know. It doesn't displace the fact that I still need to teach them that they need to get ready sooner than they think. And that's what this does. And that's the genius of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope everybody caught that. I just want to repeat, if they don't have an endpoint after you ask them, pick one, make it up, go through the process anyway.
Yeah. And I would just say to them, okay, no problem. You don't have a date. Let's just play. Let's say, for example, and then you.
There it is. Yeah. Exactly. So, Barry, this is the time at the lesson where we possibly try and get people to demonstrate this live and see if they can do it. But I'm going to warn you, if we do this, there may be tears.
I'm ready.
Okay. So does anybody want to volunteer to step up who hasn't done this before? We want somebody who hasn't done it. Okay. We don't need any snipers in here. If you haven't done it before, let us help you and bring some value to you and teach you a quick process. We're only going to go through the first 4. And as people are volunteering, I want to cover this. Everybody listening, the 4 steps that you want are keys in hand. What I did is I just made these like, you'll notice that I didn't say close escrow or go to settlement, right? I said keys in hand. This is something consumers understand. Consumers understand find the perfect home. Consumers understand start serious shopping, right? Meet with an agent, okay? So we take industry terms out of it. We use terminology that the actual consumers can understand in the way that they would actually talk. So all you really have to do is you go one point at a time, you work it backwards, and you get agreement from the lead. Will that work for you? Have you considered that? Would that fit in your timeline? Questions like that. So what I can warn you guys is the hard thing to do is to remember to go step by step, get agreement, and be able to count your months backwards. It's taken me a lot of practice to do that. Who do we have?
We've got Alex, Eleazar, and Michael.
Alex, what's up, buddy? Michael, Eleazar, how are you? All right, Alex, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to keep this interesting. We're going to keep it moving. So I'm going to give each of you one shot to do it. All right. And we'll go around the room. And then if we have time, we'll come back around and see if you can get it. Okay. So let me zoom in over here. Can everybody see my graphic?
Yeah.
Backwards process, right? So we're going to make this real simple. I'm going to role play with you. I'm moving in October 1st. Okay. We're just going to make it real easy. Well, let's do it this way. Does everybody know what a month and a half is backwards from October 1st?
September.
It would be mid-August, month and a half.
A month and a half. Okay.
Yeah, mid-August. All right, write this down, mid-August. 30 days back from mid-August is?
Mid-July.
Mid-July. All right, write that down. I'm learning how to teach this actually, Barry, right? We're going to write those down first.
Good.
Yeah, just so that we don't screw up the dates. Okay, now, when you go backwards, You're going to repeat the step, and it's like teaching kindergarten. You'll notice I said keys in hand and I said perfect home probably 4 times as I was getting through the process with Barry. You're literally teaching kindergarten to these people. The point being, you have to get them to follow you down the logic trail. And if you don't repeat yourself, they aren't listening to you. Okay. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, Alex. You role play with me. We've gotten through now. We've gotten through sooner. You've done a full discovery. Nothing's going to change. Now you need to create a logical next step with me out in the future. Okay.
Okay. All right, Dale. So what I'm hearing is that you are looking to have keys in hand, like opening the door on your beautiful home sometime by October. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, in my experience, I noticed that it takes anywhere on average between 30 to 45 days to actually, from the moment we make an offer on the property, to get the keys. Does that make sense?
I don't know why it would take that long, but I believe what you're saying.
Yeah, well, it's called the escrow process, but we'll get into that later. So if it takes about a month and a half to, to make the sale or give you the keys once we find the house, and it takes about a month and a half. So technically, we should actually make the offer sometime in mid-August. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So by the time we get to that process, it would be wise that you get approved and you get your finances ready, credit score and all that good stuff. And both of you and your wife, assuming, start shopping around sometime in mid-July. Does that make sense?
It could, if you told me why I needed to start serious shopping a month ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
But you're doing really good. So when would start serious shopping start, actually? Just jump back into role play.
Well, so the serious shopping should start, in my opinion, sometime between, early July, mid-July. Does that make sense?
Sure.
All right. So let me do this. Let's just, let's get ready to meet sometime in early, maybe mid-June, late June, so that we can lay out a strategy for you and your wife to start shopping. Does that make sense?
Good job, Alex. All right, excellent. You got all the way backwards. You got commitment. You got the dates. Good job. Couple of pieces of feedback for you. One, remember to explain to them why that needs to happen or what the process is and tie it to that date. Okay. And one thing that I want to point out to you as a more powerful sales technique. Okay. We all get told to close people. We all get told to ask for the appointment. That's kind of the first thing that we need to learn, is to say, hey, Dale, why don't we meet at such and such time? Really skilled, advanced salespeople, once I know that I've gotten you 3 times to say basically yes to me, I'm going to turn the mic back to you and say, Alex, so then when do you think we should value prop to you, right? You tell me what you think when we should meet, because guess what? It gives you a sense of power as the lead. And if I don't like your answer, I just change it, right? That's it, I change it. So I would say that it's basic skill to tell somebody when we're going to meet or tell them that we should meet. It's a more advanced skill if you have them in the position for that logical next step and they're tracking with you, to ask them when we should meet or when we should take the next step, when we should follow up, when we should sign the contract. Okay. And if you don't like the answer, like I said, you change it. Good.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. Good job. Let's go to, is it Eliezer? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, or Eli. Eli works.
Or Eli. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, buddy, you ready? You heard Alex do it. He did pretty good. So whoever goes last is going to be the real champion. And by the way, Michael, Robert, Eli, if you guys screw it up and have a difficult time doing this, it's okay. Some people have a hard time doing this in front of a bunch of other people, and that's okay. So don't worry, don't cry. It'll be totally fine. You're still an amazing salesperson, even if this doesn't happen for you right now on camera. All right, Eli. So got through now, got through sooner, full discovery. Nothing's going to change. I'm going to be a nurture in your system. Create a logical next step with me.
All right. So you want to have a property, you want to move in like October 1st sometime then, correct?
Yeah, that would work.
That'll work. Okay. So from my experience, I've seen that it takes anywhere from 30, 45, even up to 60 days. You know, you got to go through the inspection period and financing and all that good jazz before you even before you can even get the keys in hand. So somewhere around like mid-August or something, we should already put offers in the property. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, that
Awesome.
I guess that makes sense.
Awesome, good. But so even before we even put in an offer, we have to start looking for a house. You know, we have to look for something. So it could take 30 days. You know, there's a lot of criteria. Everyone wants a nice bathroom, kitchen, whatever it is. And then we have to put the offer in also. So we should even start like 30 days before then also, which would be like mid-July, somewhere around then, to start even looking for a home. You understand like where I'm coming from now?
I do, yeah. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. So like, when do you think, if like mid-July is when we should start looking, when do you think that we should get together and meet to discuss all the criteria and all that good stuff?
I don't know, maybe, you know, whenever we go out to look at houses.
Whenever. Well, so why don't we do like a week before that? Like, let's say like I don't know, like July 10th, let's say, so we can go through everything. How's that sound?
Good job. That sounds fantastic. You took the bait, man. I was like, let's give him an answer he shouldn't like, and it registered and you got it. Good job. Actually did a great job. So a little bit of feedback I would have is, in my experience, I want you to practice it in the way that you actually repeat keys in hand, right? You repeat find perfect home, repeat start serious shopping, and I'll demonstrate it real quick for you. So Eli, if you want to have keys in hand by October 1, you should start serious shopping by mid-August. And if you need to start serious shopping by mid-August, you should you should find the perfect home by mid-August. And if you need to find the perfect home by mid-August, you should start serious shopping by mid-July. And if you need to start serious shopping by mid-July, you did it at the end, just before you made the ask for the appointment, where you repeated yourself, which said, if you need to start. Have you guys ever, some of you have kids here. I do. You ever read that book, If You Give a Cat a Cupcake, or If You Give a Moose a Muffin? Okay. Yep. It's a kid's book. And basically we're patterning this like a kid's book. If you give a cat a cupcake, he'll probably ask for some sprinkles. And if you give him some sprinkles, he'll probably do X, Y, and Z, right? So they stack it, right, in terms of learning. So that's basically what we're doing here. We're emulating that process. It makes it way easier. It's like it gives the person's brain lily pads to jump on, okay? And you have to keep pointing out the lily pads, and they'll keep following you. Good, Barry?
When are we getting cookies?
You want sprinkles, right? Is what you were looking for?
Boom.
If you give Barry a cookie. Okay, cool. Who's next? Michael or Robert? We'll let you guys fight it out.
I'm happy to go.
Cool. I like the shirt hat combo with the matching star in the background. It's pretty cool. Yeah, you got a red star back there. Oh, there we go.
And the three caps.
You Waldo or something? That's crazy.
This is what I wear every day.
Nice. I like it.
Dale, I understand that you've mentioned that you want to be in your home, your keys in hand by first part of October. Is that right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Because what I find with most people is that it takes somewhere between 30 and 45 days for them to get from finding that perfect home to getting their keys in hand. So if we back up, October 1, back 45 days or so, we're looking at kind of mid-August for starting your search. Does that make sense?
Stop. Mid-August for?
Finding your perfect home.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, it does make sense.
Okay, because it takes a little time for them to process the paperwork and everything. So in order for you to find that perfect home, we really have to find that, right? So it takes about, I'm finding right now, about 30 days. We might have some false offers, some offers we put in. It takes you about 30 days to find that perfect home. So we back that up and we're talking about kind of mid-July of starting your serious shopping. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, I think that does, now that you've explained it.
So with that sort of timeline in mind, kind of mid-July, when do you think you and I should get together to kind of talk about your search and get you prepared for this process?
Well, I mean, mid-July sounds good.
You know, that might be a good time, but I think that it'd be better to kind of get a little ahead of the game so that we're not just kind of rushing into things in mid-July. How about we get together maybe the first part of July, can go over my little process, my guidebook, and help you understand what the search will look like, and then we go from there.
Good job, Michael. Excellent. Again, you took the bait too, and changed my timeline. Right, you changed the answer that I gave you, and I'm glad that both you and Eli have done that. I want to demonstrate for the rest of the crowd, like when I said to Barry, or when that question came from the crowd. So what happens if they don't give you an end date? We just pick one, right? We just play as if. What happens if you don't like the answer they give you? We change it. We just make a suggestion. They can always say no to us, but how often, when we give them the opportunity to choose something and then we change it for them, how often do they actually object to us? Unless there's a real objection to it or a real reason they can't. They almost never do. They just go along with it, right? You did really good, and you almost made the mistake that a lot of people do, which is you almost lost your step and started to squish things together. That's why I jumped in and stopped you, because you started to conflate serious shopping with finding the perfect home. And what happens is it compresses the process and doesn't make as much sense for people. So that's why I stopped you and jumped in. But otherwise, you did a great job, man. All right, Robert, you ready?
You got it.
All right, let's do it, man. So gone through now, gone through sooner, full discovery. I'm going to be a nurture in the system, nowhere else to go.
Awesome. Well, listen, Dale, it's been fantastic learning about your needs, your family's needs. And I completely respect the fact that you want to wait till October to make the move. Would it be safe to assume that you want your keys in hand probably around October 1st?
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, excellent. Makes total sense. Typically in this market, once you find the perfect house, it's taking right around 30 to 45 days to go through the whole process, the finances and inspections and everything like that. Assuming everything goes smoothly, that's going to put us back to about mid-August. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I didn't think about it, but now that you explained it, it does.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking around, mid-August for that. A lot of the buyers that I've been working with, it's taken about 30 days, of serious shopping to actually find that perfect home. So going back, that's going to even bring us back to about mid-July. Now, would that be good for you and your family to start seriously shopping at that point?
Yeah, that would work.
Oh, awesome. Fantastic. So knowing that it's going to take about 30 days or so, when do you think that we should meet to go over a customized game plan and figure out an offer strategy to actually put us in the best position to find that perfect home? When do you think we should probably meet?
Sounds like mid-July.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. Why don't we do this? Why don't we give ourselves, 14 to 10 days to go over that game plan before we actually start going out shopping? Would that work for you, Dale?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. So why don't we why don't we go July 1st? We can meet then. And then, like I said, we can go over the customized game plan and we'll work from there. Fair enough?
All right, there we go. Fantastic. Great job. Sorry, my dog is freaking out in the background. So great job, guys. And I'm really happy to say that nobody had to cry today, right? Isn't that awesome? And it's dudes, and that would have been even weirder. But like I said, every once in a while, I role play with people. I teach them this, and I don't know if it's a matter of role playing in public or if it's just, sometimes like my logical methodology doesn't work for certain people and they can't do it that way, but they're still really successful salespeople. So today that didn't happen. You guys all learned a process. Congratulations. Thank you for playing the game. Cool. So everybody watching, you'll be able to get this PDF as a download. We'll just put it along with the recording, which is on the Ylopo website, is where they put all these recordings. So of my panel here, the guys that participated and practiced this, any feedback or any insights? Let me ask this. Do you think you'll be able to use this in your business?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a similar map, but I generally just go forward to backwards. But I think the backward to forward is a nice, it's a better way to explain it to people, and it helps you get the buy-in from the other people.
Yeah, exactly, Michael. What we're doing is we're meeting them where they're at, right? Oh, okay. You're saying the fall. You're saying October. You're saying November. Let me start there, right? With what you understand, which is the end point. Because
what they want.
It's what they want. Exactly. And, you know, as I explained when Barry was on here, when you're talking to those people that are that far out, they've squished the process of thinking about, shopping for, walking in and out of, making offers, et cetera, getting through the process down to this, right? They've squished it all the way down. So you got to meet them out there at that squished point and slowly crank the door open in their brain to get them to follow you and agree with you and be part of the process as you go along. Excellent. All right, guys. Barry, I think we're done for today. Any final questions, thoughts, or comments from the crowd?
Yeah, I apologize. I have to have my camera off, but
Okay.
you know, I do. There was one user that asked, the listing agent. Do you want to handle that? Like when they say, I want to work with the listing agent, I'm looking for a home.
Sure, we can. If they said, so that would be kind of a different training when they talk about listing agent.
Okay.
However, I can address it right now if you want me to.
Well, no, it's okay. It's all right. We don't have to go over it. I mean, basically, that would be covered in one of the earlier sessions. Big idea, you know, what do you gain by using the listing agent? Let them clarify, and then you just discuss it. I always used to say, even though it's off topic here, it's like going to court with the person suing you using their attorney, is what I would always say.
Yeah.
But,
I'd like to add to that, actually. Let me address it real quick.
oh, now you want to address it.
If you receive a lead who inquires, okay, if somebody like contacts you from the internet, asks about a listing, wants to book an appointment, generally speaking, about 50% of the time, if they say, Robert, just role play with me, okay? So Robert, I'm gonna call you. You're a lead, and you want to talk to I'm gonna tell you guys there's different categories of people. Okay, there's the people who want to talk to a listing agent because they want to work with a listing agent, nobody else. Okay, that's the hardest one to deal with. The easier ones are they asked for the listing agent because they don't know any better. I saw the name on the sign. I saw the name on the internet. I just figured I should talk to that person. Then there's people who say something like listing agent because they just have no idea and don't really care. That's just where they started. Okay. So let's practice the simple one. Okay. Robert, you saw a name on a sign and you thought that's who you should ask for. Okay. All right. Ring, ring, Robert.
Hello.
Hello, Robert. This is Dale Archdekin with Whatever Realty. Looks like you were interested in this property on 123 Main Street. Would you like to make an appointment to go see it?
Yeah. Are you the listing agent by chance?
Great question. Is it because you want to book an appointment or because you have questions about the property?
Well, he was just the name that I saw on the sign when I inquired.
Oh, got it. Okay. Well, listen, again, would you like to go see it or did you have questions before you see it?
I want to go see it.
Oh, great, man. Listen, do you want to see it this evening or maybe tomorrow? Which one works better for you?
This evening, sooner the better.
Okay. Now, did everybody hear how I dealt with listing agent? Did I need to explain the virtues of working with a buyer's agent? Nope. Didn't need to do none of that, right? I just want to know when you want to go see the property or do you have questions about it? I pretty much asked him that question about 3 times. Right, Robert? Discovered that you just saw the guy's name on the sign and thought you should talk to him. Now, half of the time, I bypass the objection. Thank you, Eric. A lot of times we can just avoid this stuff. I don't have to get into the ring. I don't have to let them drag me into the ring if I can get around it, right? Listen, I'm no fighter. I know I may look like I'm in the peak physical condition, but I'm not a fighter, believe me. So I'll avoid the ring if I can. And that's just what we did. A lot of times you can do that with people. The only times that you're really going to have your feet held to the fire is if you get that person who's like, I'm only going to talk to listing agent. Are you the listing agent? Right? So that's when you're going to have to get into it and do what Barry suggested, right? If they drag you into it and they won't let you get around it. Make sense, everybody? Okay.
Makes perfect sense.
Yep. And even if Robert had questions, Robert says, yeah, I wanted to talk to the listing agent because I have questions. Are you the listing agent? I might say something like, great, what questions do you have? And the only time I'm going to have to mess with it is if he comes back and is like, no. I asked, are you the listing agent? Okay. Now, if you're a solo agent, okay, if you are at a brokerage that carries listings and you don't look the property up, you could say, well, I'm not sure whether my company is the listing broker or not. We carry a lot of listings. What questions do you have for the listing agent, right? That is true if you don't look the property up and you work for a brokerage that carries listings. If you are like, you know, a private label company or your own broker and you know that you aren't carrying a lot of listings, then you can't really go that direction with it. Then you might have to get into the virtues of a buyer agent versus a listing agent. But I would say usually if you can avoid getting into that food fight with somebody. Make sense?
Very well said. Thanks for digging into it, Dale.
You got it, Barry. You know me, man. I have to accept a challenge.
No, it's good. It's good. This is all super helpful once again.
Excellent. All right, everybody. Great seeing all of you for today. I'm doing, for my follow-up boss users, we'll be doing past client sphere of influence referrals. Eli had a question. Or you just give me a
no, I have a question, but it's about not this, it's also off topic. Do you mind if I ask?
Well, I actually have to end for today because I need to jump over and do the Ylopo or the follow-up boss webinar. But you can just email me, man. I'm Dale@smartinsidesales.com.
Okay, awesome.
Very easy to find. Excellent. Thanks for participating today, guys.
Thanks,
Barry,
Dale.
thank you for being my Sherpa on this mountain.
Always a pleasure, sir. Bye-bye.
See you guys.